So I just recently did this series um, on mindset, and while that's probably the most topical series I could do, I think I want to talk about mindset again, but this time I want to talk about the mindset of failure. Most will tell you these incredible stories of their success, and while that is obviously their truth, I would venture a guess that they spent more time in failure than they did in actually succeeding. But Instagram, Facebook, all of the social media sites, um, the little 30-second commercials that you see about people's lives are about what they've achieved, or what they're doing, or where they're going, or um, how blessed they are. And testimonies are absolutely important. You must speak life over your life. But I think where most people live is in that nebulous place between I'm not there yet and I really can't go back to where I just came from. So I want to spend a little time talking about the time in the trenches, the time that most people like to hide or give about 10 seconds lip service to it. You know, I went through some things and I came through it. Okay, I'm glad you came through it. But how? Everybody needs to know how. We've been spending a lot of time lately in all of the social media platforms talking about the why. Learn your why. Why do you exist? What did you really come on this planet to do? Why should you have $1 billion? And knowing what to do with that kind of income or resource or influence is key. Trust me, it really is. But how do you get from point A to point B? How do you get from Monday to Friday? You know, the people who live for the weekend are not living because they're spending at least 5 days looking forward to 2 days. You're wasting 4/5 of your life doing something that you absolutely don't enjoy to get to a place of a moment that you might enjoy it. So almost all things out there are geared toward the people who are just talking about what they've achieved, not how they've achieved it. So I can only speak from my personal experience. So let me just give you a snapshot of where I've been and what has happened to get me to where I am. I'm living in the same space that I've lived in for 11 years now. I moved into this space in February of 2007. I would like to tell you um, I had the premonition of what was going to happen here, but I obviously didn't. I was fresh out of New York City. Uh, I had lived literally like a homeless man in New York City for several years, and I was gainfully employed. But if you've ever lived in New York City, you know you have to make a lot of money all day, every day to have the autonomy of living alone. You cannot live alone in New York City unless you're a millionaire or you're in a rent control apartment, and those are hard to come by now. And so you'll spend a lot of your time just earning rent. And so, in order to not spend all your time earning rent, you'll have 4 or 5 or 6 roommates. It's hard to be creative when everyone around you is hustling, and everyone is hustling in a different direction for a different reason. So I had had enough in New York City. And trust me when I tell you, it is still my favorite city in the world. But I knew New York at the time did not love me back. but I didn't know where I wanted to go. I didn't know. I looked upon writing, producing, I should say, a song, a whole project with a gentleman who wanted some string instruments, multiple string instruments on this particular project, fiddles and violas and violins and mandolins and all that stuff. Okay, cut to the chase. There's a gentleman that lives in Taos, New Mexico, and we flew out of New York City, went directly to Taos, and on the drive from Albuquerque to Taos, I started to see this incredible landscape. This, they call it the land of enchantment. It really is. And when you see it for the first time, especially after living in New York City for 17 years and being surrounded by, taxis and honking horns and people screaming and sirens and just the noise that's always in your ear, to come into a place where there's just quiet, I mean, peace and quiet. I had forgotten what that sounded like. Now, I had grown up as a small town Texas boy. I should not have forgotten, but I had, because I spent all of this time in all these major cities, from Austin to Philadelphia to now New York City. And I had had no time to myself, certainly no peace of mind. And when I hit New Mexico, I knew I couldn't leave. I knew there was no reason for me to return back to New York City and live like a rat. I didn't want to. So I chose to stay. I lived in this beautiful community outside of Taos called the Greater World Earthship Community. It's a way of living off the grid, but it's not, rustic living. It's actually very comfortable. And I lived in this beautiful, beautiful earthship. Look all of this up. I don't have time to get into the details of what they are. And I was living there, and my first couple of days there, I was busy. I was trying to do something with my time. I had to do something. I had that New York mentality, and this was not that place. See, when we stop spinning so fast, when we stop moving in our busyness of being busy, what's really for us, what really should be ours, will find a way to get to us. But we have to stop running from it and start running toward it. So one of the hows is, what you're chasing is truly chasing you. It really is. It's trying to catch up to you. But you're so busy going in the opposite direction or running away from it, it can't reach you. So maybe one of the first things you want to think about in this incredible life of changing is slow down. Why are you in a hurry? Do you know where you're going to? The lyric says. Do you like the things that life is showing you? Where are you going to? Do you know? Do you get what you're hoping for? When you look behind you, there's no open door. What are you hoping for? Do you know? See, part of learning how to be successful in the now is recognizing that we're chasing things that we were chasing since we were teenagers, since we were infants, reading these fairy tales and being told all these incredible stories about, a land beyond, and the knight in shining armor, and prince on the white horse, and all those things that we read, being rescued. I'm not sure any of that served us very well. Because the truth of the matter is, you're going to be your own savior, you're going to be your own rescuer, you're going to be your own knight in shining armor. You are the you you're looking for. That's a deeper subject than I'm going to talk about right now, but I'm telling you the truth. So I'm out there, I'm in the middle of nowhere, I stopped running, I started sleeping, because my mind and my body had to detox from that constant activity that I had been through. I would tell you you're trying to build things on top of the noise that's already in your head. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And that's the reason I was so excited in the last podcast vlog about Eden Dust, about me creating this place for people to come and slow down and find themselves and believe in themselves again, hear themselves, and maybe meet themselves for the first time. Who are the you now as a young adult that really should be the guy you or girl that you're desiring to be, instead of the one that you remember as a young teenager? See, as an adult, we're sometimes slaves to a person that we thought we wanted to become when we were 12 and 13. And that person doesn't fit in this world of 25, 27. So what are you going to do now? Slow down. Let life catch up to you. Now, what happens at that point is going to be very personal. I will not sit here and tell you, and then the stars are going to be brighter and the leaves are going to turn a certain color of green. It could, it might, probably won't. Everybody's experience is different. I want you to just start paying attention. See, when we were busy, we were focused, no doubt about it, because what we wanted was out there. But now that you slow down and life is catching up to you, what do you want now? You have to start paying attention. Things are right there in front of you. It's someone you already know. It's a place you've already considered but kind of put aside because, it wasn't part of that plan. We are so much smarter than we think we are, and we brag about the wrong things. We brag about things that we're not in control of. And the things that we really do have an effect on, we neglect to acknowledge that. We asked for that. We forgot we asked for it. But everything that we're going through, even the troubles, are things that we asked for. In our hubris, in our demanding attitude, we forced our way into places, and now we're reaping the result of that. So it takes a while for the dust to settle. My favorite Taoist saying is, do you have the patience to be still until the mud settles and the water clears? Once that clarity comes, and now you know what you want to do, the next hurdle is going to be courage. How do I do it? How do I leave what I know behind? Because it's safe. Even the confusion is comfortable. Even living beneath my means or living beneath my talent is comfortable because it's so familiar. But there comes a point where you have to say, you know what? But if I stay here, if I don't get out of this boat and try to walk on this water, I'm going to have the same experience over and over and over again. And I just don't want to wake up 6 years from now still sitting in this boat waiting for something to happen. I have to be the author, because we are all creators, so we know that part. But I also have to be the finisher. I have to be the one that says, I can do this. I can do this. And I'm going to do this, and this is how. Then you start thinking in that clarity, who do I know that's living the way I want to live? Can I ask them some questions? Can I not fangirl out or fanboy out when I meet them and ask them some very specific questions as to what they did to get from point A to point B? See, we waste time admiring people's success, but we forget that we should be emulating their success. We should be asking them very important questions about their success. How did I do it? How did they do it? Excuse me. One of the things I noticed, I saw this. I could have been sitting higher all this time. How did they do it? How did they do the thing that I admire most in them? I love their songs, yes, no doubt about it. I love their songs. But what I really want to talk to them about is their songwriting. That's what I really should be asking questions about. So I want you, in the days to come, reflecting back on this little bit of testimony, not a lot of it, where on this scale of evolution am I? Where am I? Where do I want to be this time next week? Where do I want to be this time next year for certain? And what are the obstacles in my way of getting to that place and achieving that thing? And then tackle the obstacles. That's the courage I mentioned. You cannot get from here to there without courage. You just can't. You can wish and you can hope someone comes to rescue you. And you can waste a lot of time on both. Or you can have the courage to say out loud, this is what I need, this is what I need to do, and this is when I'm going to do it. And give yourself a deadline and make it happen. Now, I know when you start to think like that and talk like that, other people hear you and they will show up and be of an assistance to you, but they don't show up until you start moving. You can't will them into your life if you're sitting still. It's a beautiful thing watching my friend next door relax and understand the evolution that he's in right now. I am witnessing the transformation with my own eyes. And it was a slow road. He has been here with me on and off since October of last year. And now here we are in April, and he finally has his own space right next door to me. I'm able to be a guide and be a friend and be a brother without necessarily micromanaging every single thing he does, which I never wanted to do in the first place. So if you are in a position to help someone else, remember what I just said. They need your help, not your actual do it for me. Don't do it for them. Let them find their way in the way they need to find it from the divine resource that you found it in the first place too. I'm excited to see what happens next. I'm excited to talk to you about wherever all of this is going. I'm going to fix my chair. I promise you in the next broadcast, I will not be doing this. And I'm going to say thank you for paying attention. I know who you are. I know who's listening on a regular basis now. Not all of you, but some of you. And I'm very, very, very grateful for your time and your attention and your love. You know, it's the fuel that fuels me. All right. Have a great day. Let's work on a better mindset. And let's tell the truth about our evolution from where we started to where we are now. It will help someone who's struggling today with the how. The why they know, the how is what they're looking for today. Peace.